speech at America's first Agenda Summit in Washington, D.C. Here he touches upon a lot of different topics regarding the US. I'm going to read the third paragraph here on the document. Yes, Donald J. Trump. Prohibited from coming in. All of a sudden, they're all over the place. It's crazy what's going on. We should once again require able-bodied single adults to go to work or train for a job. In order to receive welfare and other benefits, you got to work, and we should require proof of citizenship to receive the child. We have to do this to get the child tax credit, to stop subsidizing illegal immigration. We're bringing illegal immigrants into our country because they're paying them a fortune. We're paying them. In California, the governor wants to pay for their education, their medical. They want to give them more than our vets. They want to give them better benefits than our vets and citizens. We need a bold range of election integrity reforms from the beginning. Unsecure. Yes, the overall topic in these 3 paragraphs are immigrant and immigration. Donald Trump's nodal point is to remove illegal immigrants from the US and prioritize American citizens over immigration. Yes. Yes, the discourse analysis. I found some chains of equivalences. There's, for example, immigrants, immigration, criminals, and illegal. Yes, Donald Trump, he uses a lot of adjectives, or I would also call them maybe floating signifiers. For example, here in the first paragraph, he uses adjectives as horrible and vicious, which I would say were actually dysphemisms as they exaggerate the situation and what is going on. He also uses here in the second paragraph great, great, and great, which I would say are euphemisms, which means like he makes the whole point better than it is. He maybe exaggerates it, but in the good way. Yes. Overall, the language is pretty informal, I would say. He has a lot of his own opinions. Yes, and immigrants, which makes his point very clear to everybody he's talking to. He uses personal pronouns such as we and you. For example, here in the second paragraph on the second line, he says, "We have the greatest in the world." But then when he talks about the immigrants, he says they. For example, here later on in the line, he says, "But they have to." And also in the last line here in the second paragraph, he says, "They'll be and they'll be." So he kind of collects all the immigrants into one group and says they, as if they're not a part of the American society. Yes. He uses contractions such as there here in the second paragraph. Yes, which is also quite informal. He uses anaphoras where he repeats himself a few times. For example, in the third paragraph, on the second line, he says, or on the third to last line, he says, "They want to give them more than our vets. They want to give them," where he repeats himself. Yes. So he uses a lot of repetition. He also talks directly to the Americans. For example, he says, as you know, it says here in this first line in the second paragraph, he says, "As you know, we got rid of da da da," where he talks like directly to the Americans to get their attention. Yes. On Tuesday, the 2022 midterm election will take place in the US. Right now, as it looks, the Republicans have the majority of the votes in the US, which means it's them that support Trump. I would say that it kind of makes sense that he is in lead because he is very, very good at his argumentation, and he really, you can also see it in his speech here, he really fights for for the US, and he wants them to be like a connected community. Yes. But one of the things Trump also does is that he exposes other political parties to make himself look good, which is a good rhetorical device to convince his voters that he is the best. Yes.